You ever just stand in front of a wall of cameras, whether it be real or virtual, and feel like you're picking your next identity? Whether it be mirrorless, DSLR, film, point and shoot. There's a lot, because there's specs, hype, megapixels, influencer opinions swirling in your head like Lightroom presets gone wrong. And you know what nobody tells you? The right camera doesn't just take better photos, it makes you shoot different. It changes your mindset, it changes your pace, and it changes your eyes. And in 2025, after almost 10 years of shooting in almost every format, brand, or genre, here are my favorite 4 that I would recommend for anyone either just getting started or looking to pick up something that's going to last them a lifetime. Cameras that really actually matter. 4 that will match your vision instead of just being a flex in your kit. I'm gonna break them down, no fluff, and just real world experience, strong opinions, and some cameras that really will do some magic for you if you decide to go ahead and pick these up. So let's go ahead and talk about the best cameras to buy in 2025 and why this might be the last camera gear guide that you'll need for a pretty long time if you decide to go out and check out one of these cameras. So let's get started. And I know a lot of you probably gonna be kind of on my head about this, but I am recommending a mirrorless, because mirrorless cameras are great, and in 2025 it's the standard at this point almost. The old guard kind of got dethroned years ago, and now we're watching giants flex in 4K 120 FPS. So with that being said, first on this list is going to be the Sony A74, and this one is kind of just known as the all-around monster. And look, I know the Sony A7 V is out here flexing 61 megapixels like it's training for the photo Olympics or something, but most of us don't need that much. We just need a little balance, and the A7 IV hits that sweet spot like a well-timed shutter click. It's 33 megapixels that has beautiful dynamic range, real-time eye autofocus that works like pretty much witchcraft. And it's pretty much the staple, like the bread and butter of mirrorless cameras at this point. It's mainstream, but still undeniably great. And everyone uses this camera for a reason. You want hybrid? Boom, 10-bit 422 video. You want photo first? Well, the color science is really good. It stopped looking like 2013 EDM art covers and is really advanced a lot. So I've used the Sony A7 IV for a few different client works where speed is more so the priority, whether it be food, lifestyle, music shoots, and it doesn't just keep up, but it really will lead the way for you. So that's one I definitely recommend, and I would say should be something you could add to your list for something that will last you forever and something that will do you justice out there in the field. So my next option is going to be the Canon kit. So I know all the Canon people are probably like, well, what about us? So I got you right now, and the one I have for my second recommendation is the Canon R6 II, or pretty much the low light king here. So this is the camera you're gonna pull out when the lights go down, the vibes are starting to turn up. I'm talking 6400 ISO in a warehouse rave with 1 RGB strobe, and your shots still slap. Canon's color science still undefeated for skin tones in my opinion. I don't care what your LUT pack says or any of that. It boasts 24 megapixels, which seems a little compared to the others, but it's still plenty. The autofocus is sticky like honey on vinyl, and image stabilization, well, you've pretty much got a gimbal taped inside of your wrist using this thing. But here's the thing. At this point in the game, all the major mirrorless players are pretty fire, whether it be Fuji, Nikon, Panasonic. They're all dropping heat, but it's about choosing the right tool for your eye. And speaking of tools that feel like home, this next one is one of my personal favorites, and this is a camera that I've carried around quite a great deal all over the world, and took some of my best photos that I feel like I've ever taken on this camera. And this one is for all my Nikon users out there. This is the Nikon D850. So this is pretty much the DSLR that refuses to quit. The Nikon D850 for me is pretty much my daily driver still in 2025. And I know that's going to make some of the tech bros eyes, or eyebrows twitch, but you know what? That's cool. That's fine with me, because it's what I like and it's what I enjoy using. So at the end of the day, say what you want, think what you want, but that's just what I'm going to use, because this camera taught me the basics. It taught me patience, it taught me intention, and it taught me to slow down and really pick my shots like I mean it. You don't get 45.7 megapixel raw files out of a toaster. This thing was built for image quality, and the battery life, I could shoot multiple days on one battery charge, and I've had no issues with this camera. I had no issues with it, and I've shot on it for at least 6 years now, I believe. And the ergonomics for this camera is one of the things I personally love the most, because it's kind of like, you know, holding Thor's hammer or something like that if he was a photographer. It's just great. It gives you that sense of this is a real piece of technology, but it's also very durable, and it's also pretty user friendly, I'll say. And one thing I do love about these, especially the DSLR style of camera in general, is the optical viewfinder. And this is a hill I will die on, because an optical viewfinder just hits different for me. You see light, and you don't just see what the sensor interprets. And another thing about this camera is that I've dragged this camera through mud, snow, rain, sweat, TSA, you name it. It's been through it all, and it's still a tank, still a beauty, still delivers frames that makes my clients pause mid-scroll and say, dang, that looks good. How did you do that? Or, hey, I see you out there, bro. That looks really good. And I did, with a DSLR in 2025. So one I highly recommend and would never talk down about. And the best thing about these is that you can find these for a really great price right now, probably under $1,500 to $1,600, and I feel like for that price you're not going to get too much better. But before I give you my next option, the more interesting one, let me ask you for a second. Let's zoom out and ask a question, and I want you to leave your answer to this in the comment section down below, so prepare yourself. And the question is, does gear matter, or are we just addicted to the chase? Let's be honest, like many of us are kind of just looking for a new camera because we feel like the next one will fix our creative block, or, you know, kind of renew our interest in photography. Let me know your answer down in the comment section, and I would love to know what you have to say about this. Also, if you're enjoying this video, of course, leave a like and subscribe. We have all different types of videos, photography related, whether it be just discussion, recommendations, or just having fun. So if you're interested in anything like that, this is the place to be. So go ahead and subscribe. But let's get back into it. So now for my final option, and I've mentioned this camera before on this channel, and this one is kind of like a if you know you know, and this one is going to be the Olympus MJU2, which is known as pretty much the film flex. So this little 35mm point and shoot became an icon before TikTok started romanticizing film grain, and now it's a collector's dream and even a creative cheat code. So here's why I love it. Because it fits in your pocket. One, the 35mm f2.8 is criminally sharp, and the flash gives everything this raw, vintage, nightlife energy, digital, can't fake, and I love it. Pictures that just remind you of vibes and nostalgia are probably taken on a camera like this, or even this one specifically. So this camera is one that I've used on dates, tours, back alleys, streets, really anything, and I've gotten some of my most honest photos from this tiny little plastic machine. Shooting film, and especially on a point and shoot like the MJU2, forces you to really just let go of perfection. You can't chimp, you can't retake, you just trust your eye and have fun with the process. And in a world that's kind of addicted to preview screens, presets, and all that kind of stuff, it really does make you feel liberated using a camera like this. So this is one I would highly recommend, and these also aren't going for an astronomical amount of money. These might be a couple hundred at best, everything fully included. So let's start to pull all of this together. In 2025, there are pretty much endless cameras that you could pick from, but the best camera for you depends on what you're chasing. You want power and versatility? Well, the Sony A74 is probably a good option. You want cinematic color and low light efficiency? Well, the Canon R6 II is going to be a great choice. You want pure old school magic? Well, in my opinion, the Nikon D850, or, you know, the camera for me that's considered ride or die. And if you want to unplug, feel something real again, and just, you know, kind of minimalize the thought when it comes to taking a photo, well, the Olympus MJU2 is going to most definitely settle all that for you. At the end of the day, regardless of which one you pick, it's not about the megapixels, and it's not even about the price. It's about how a camera makes you see and how it makes you feel. You see moments, you see light, you see yourself, and as a creative, not just a content creator, that's the full circle moment. And we start off chasing gear, but we end up chasing feeling. But anyways, whichever one you pick, regardless of what you do or what you plan to shoot on, remember that it's just about the experience. It's about you documenting your story, sharing with the world your visions and experiences, and however you choose to do that is solely up to you. But anyways, that's all I have for you in this one. If you're still here, you know, I appreciate that, and you're definitely a real one. So hit that like and subscribe if this was interesting or you enjoyed the video. And of course, if you want to follow me on socials, you can do that as well. The links down in the description below. If you want to become a member and support the channel so we can do bigger and better things, the links down for the Patreon are also down below as well. But anyways, I appreciate you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.